Hi guys, and welcome back to another video. Today we are talking all things microneedling, which I am so excited about. If you have seen any of my other videos before, you know I love talking about microneedling. I first got into microneedling back in 2022, and since then I have been sent and tried many different microneedling tools. Today's video I'm super excited about. We are doing a full side-by-side comparison of all the major at-home microneedling devices categories, and hopefully this will make things a little bit easier when it comes to you choosing what tool or device is right for you. I'll have this video time-stamped, so it should be super easy for you to jump around and look at the different devices that I'm going to be talking about today. But we're going to be going through Dermarollers, microinfusion stem devices, Dr Pen motorized pen devices, and also the Banisher. As per usual, I want to start off with a little bit of background about microneedling and the science behind it. So how microneedling works is it's creating micro injury to the skin, ideally by creating these vertical little channels in the skin, which triggers the release of growth factors, TGF-beta, and fibroblast activation to upregulate collagen production. Essentially, microneedling is harnessing your skin's own ability to heal and regenerate itself by creating controlled injury to the skin. It's also known as collagen induction therapy, and there's been numerous studies done on collagen induction therapy, aka microneedling, and some studies have shown that it can increase collagen production in the skin by up to 400%. So we know that controlled injury to the skin works, it's evidence-based, but the key thing here is that controlled injury upregulates the healing process. Uncontrolled injury, if you're going very aggressive or using the wrong tools, can actually lead to damage to the skin. So you can end up with scarring and post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation. So that's why it's very important that when you are going to be doing something like microneedling, especially at home where we're not trained professionals, that we are using the right tool to minimize those negative effects. So now that we have a little bit of that background in mind, let's talk about the different microneedling devices that are on the market. So the first device we're going to be talking about is the Dermaroller, which essentially has lots of little micro needles on the barrel. I would say that Dermarollers are the most easily accessible, cheap, and easy to find microneedling device on the market, but I have quite a few concerns with the Dermaroller. So first of all, my issue with the Dermaroller, because the roller moves in an arc, you're getting angled entry and exit of the micro needles into the skin, which means that you're actually getting micro tears into the skin. With a stamping style tool, you're getting controlled vertical entry and exit of needles into the skin, which creates controlled micro injury to the skin, which is what you want for effective microneedling and collagen induction therapy. So compared to a stamping style device like the Banisher or sort of classical derma stamp, which I'll put a picture of here, I don't actually have one on me, these actually increase trauma to the top layer of the skin, which is called the epidermis, which compromises your skin barrier, so it can lead to prolonged inflammation. The other issue I have with Dermarollers is hygiene. The way that it's designed is you have hundreds of tightly packed needles, so in between them you're going to be getting buildup of skin, blood, debris, and there's just no effective way to sterilize this. So in conclusion, the Dermaroller is budget friendly and it's very easy to get your hands on, but I just don't think that there's any benefit to creating these micro tears in the skin. I think the risks outweigh the benefits in this scenario. Even if you don't have the money for the other tools I'm going to be talking about, Derma Stamp is similar price point, I believe, but you're getting that controlled injury to the skin. The next category of device I want to talk about are these microinfusion devices. I'm sure you've all seen the ads from the Qure microinfusion system. This one's actually not from Qure, this one is from Dr Pen. The Qure one comes with a serum. This one from Dr Pen, you can get it in multiple different sizes from 0.25 millimeters to 1.5 millimeters, and you can actually fill the these with your own serum. These are stamp style tools, and they infuse your skin with whatever serum is inside the chamber at the same time as microneedling. And Dr. Pen actually does say that you can use this tool multiple times. I don't really think I would be doing that for a few reasons. While these are designed to minimize backflow, they're not a completely sterile system. And so I do believe that there is a risk of impurities from the microneedles flowing back into the chamber where the serum is, and then you're just kind of spreading that all over the face. Especially with the Qure microinfusion system, there's no way I would be reusing that serum later on. So we know that microneedling increases transdermal absorption of product by creating these tiny microchannels in the skin, so whatever products you put on topically sink deeper into the skin. However, applying the serum immediately after microneedling, where you've created these microchannels in the skin, creates a similar enhancement of the product absorption without actually needing to store serum inside your microneedling device. So whilst these little infusion devices are very convenient, they're not actually superior in outcome. So next, we're going to be talking about the Dr. Pen devices. Actually just gotten in their new M9 system. I haven't used it yet, but I'm planning on using it this weekend, and also microneedling with exosomes for the first time. And I'll of course be filming that experience, so do keep an eye out. I would say the Dr. Pen devices are the closest thing to professional microneedling that you can get at home. These are essentially consumer versions of clinical pens. Dr. Pen do make professional devices for use by estheticians and dermatologists. These are fantastic for a few reasons. First of all, you're getting that vertical insertion of the needles into the skin, which is great. That's what we want. It's also motorized. You can adjust the depth of the needles. You can adjust the speed of the needles. They also use single-use cartridges, so hygiene is not an issue. However, there's a few important considerations. First of all, and probably most obvious, is that these are the most expensive at-home option. They can get incredibly expensive, and especially when you're having to buy, single-use cartridges every time, that cost definitely adds up. It's still more affordable than in-clinic treatments, but just something to be aware of. I would also say this is definitely the most painful at-home option. It's definitely worth investing in numbing creams for this. And because of that, it's a lot more time consuming for at home. There's also a lot of controversy about the best way to use these motorized pens. If you're moving in a slow and steady kind of way, you're not going to be creating micro tears, but it's entirely personal preference, and I know a lot of people do like to use these pens still in a stamping motion. And if you're doing that, which I have tried doing before, it takes such a long time. Obviously, from a controlled injury perspective, the safest way to use these pens at home is to use a stamping style. Dragging in a way that's not controlled, and especially when you don't have the correct technique, can increase the risk of things like micro tears. Clinically, these pens are used in a way where you're sort of overlapping in small sections, not aggressively dragging it over the skin. So the Dr. Pen is great for those who want a very clinical experience, who's going to learn the correct technique, use the correct skill, and you're going to be patient. But I really don't think that these are for everyone. So that leads me to finally, but definitely not least, talk about the Banisher. The Banisher is the first microneedling device I ever used back in 2022. They've actually recently improved it to what's now called the Banisher 3.0. So previously with the Banisher, after you used it a certain amount of times, you had to toss the entire device. But now they've actually come out with a new design where the heads are replaceable. You're just replacing the needling heads in a similar way to something like the Dr. Pen and sort of clinical tools. And the biggest thing that I'm super happy about is that you can get different needle lengths now. So it used to just be a 0.5 millimeter needling device. but now you can buy 0.25, 5, and 1 millimeter replacement heads. And something that I really do like about the Banisher is that it's actually designed to be used multiple times because of the way that the needles are placed and the design of the head. This cap is designed to both protect the needles on this device, but also be a sterilization pod. So you fill this up to the line with isopropyl alcohol and you leave the needles to sit before and after a microneedling session. Then you dump out the alcohol, obviously, and then replace the cap and store it for your next microneedling session. It tells you inside the box how often you should be replacing the needle heads. So they say if you're microneedling your whole face, and you should be replacing it every 3 to 4 uses. The Banisher is the only tool that I think that's okay to reuse the heads and not compromise on hygiene, because it's specifically designed to be used multiple times. The needles aren't clumped together. You're not necessarily getting debris building up between the needles in a way that isopropyl alcohol is not going to be able to disinfect. Also, if you're comparing the surface size of the Banisher to the Dr. Pen, obviously a microneedling session using this in a stamp style is going to be a lot quicker than using something like this teeny little thing. You've got gold-plated needles, so they are actually a lot gentler on the skin. And if you compare it to something like medical grade stainless steel, you can actually tell a difference. I think because they're sharper needles, it actually doesn't hurt as much when you're microneedling. So you don't really need to be adding in a numbing step. You're getting that clean vertical insertion. You're getting controlled micro-injury to the skin. I would say that this is the most foolproof at-home microneedling device. You can now change the depth of the needles. You can do 0.5 millimeters on the forehead and the chin, 1 millimeter on the cheeks, and you can do 0.25 millimeters around the nose and the orbital bone. So this is quicker, I would say it's safer, and it's the most beginner friendly option on the market. But now also that you can switch out the heads and really control the needle depth, I think it's excellent for even those of us who have been microneedling at home for years. And the next step for Banish that I would love to see is to be able to adjust the needle depth on the one head. Ultimately, I would say that this is the tool that I recommend to most people. I've given one to my mom, I recommend it to all my friends. I just think that this is the most foolproof device. So the Dr. Pen, I do really like it, and it definitely has a place in my routine. I really just think that the Banish tool is my OG. I think that it's suitable for everybody. So I think in summary, it really does depend on your goals. What are you wanting to get out of microneedling? If you just want maximum clinical level control, maybe you're a nurse, maybe you're a doctor, and you want to do microneedling at home by yourself, the Dr. Pen devices are very well made. They're the closest thing you're going to get to a clinical experience. If you're after a convenient one-step infusion of serum into your skin, these microinfusion devices might be best for you. And if you're new to microneedling, not sure where to start, or you're just wanting the safest at-home microneedling option, go with the Banisher 3.0. Something that's aggressive and higher performance is not gonna equal greater results if you're using it with the incorrect technique. So I hope that this has been helpful. Obviously, if you have any questions, just leave them below and I'll try my best to answer them. And I'm curious, if you've tried microneedling at home, which of these tools have you tried and which has been your favorite? Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.